Good afternoon. This is SkedLIVE for Tuesday, March 29th. I'm your host, Brian Aguilar, and here's what's making news now. Marco Muzzo is sentenced to 10 years minus time served for drunk driving that killed 4 people, 3 of whom were children. He was also prohibited from driving for 12 years when he gets out of prison. Muzzo pleaded guilty last month to 4 counts of impaired driving causing death and 2 counts of impaired driving causing bodily harm. Superior Court Justice Michelle First handed her decision earlier this morning at a Newmarket courthouse. Daniel Neville Lake, his brother Harrison, his sister Millie, and his grandfather Gary Neville died last September after the van they were in was hit by Muzzo, who was driving an SUV. Muzzo's blood alcohol was about 3 times the legal limit. Meanwhile, the sentencing hearing of Gordon Stockless, the man involved in the Maple Leafs Garden sex scandal, was postponed today. The trial will start tomorrow. Stockless pleaded guilty in 2014 to 100 charges related to the sexual abuse of 18 boys a decade ago. He pleaded guilty in 1997 for sexual assaults on 24 boys while he was an usher at the Toronto Maple Leafs Garden between 1969 and 1988. Stockless was sentenced to 5 years, but he was released on parole in 2001. A Catholic priest from London, Ontario is under investigation after church officials have reported more than $500,000 slated for refugee sponsorship was lost to gambling. Police have launched an investigation on Father Amir Saka, who is working at St. Joseph's Chaldean Catholic Church in London. He told Bishop Emmanuel Shaleta about how he spent the money to gambling. Shaleta suspended Saka immediately. London police said they received a complaint last month of alleged financial misappropriation. No charges have been laid. Warning to the people of Hamilton, the number of raccoons and skunks testing positive for the rabies virus continues to soar in the city, according to the Hamilton Public Health. A total number of 65 animals, 46 of whom are raccoons and 19 are skunks, have tested positive of the virus since December. The Hamilton Public Health is warning the public to stay away from the raccoons and skunks as the strain of rabies they are carrying is deadly. Outside of Hamilton, only 5 cases have been reported. The FBI have successfully broken into San Bernardino gunman's iPhone without Apple's help. This and more of today's business and tech news with Anas Siddiq.
Thanks, Brian. The U.S. Justice Department says it has successfully accessed the data stored on an iPhone used by one of the San Bernardino shooters and will be dropping its legal action against Apple. The legal battle, which had grabbed the interest of the tech industry, ended in a victory for Apple, who opposed a court order compelling it to write a backdoor into its encrypted software. Apple argued that the backdoor would have compromised the integrity of encryption, which is used by financial institutions and government agencies to keep information confidential. The larger fight over law enforcement access to encrypted information is not over, as both tech industry giants and the U.S. government hold firm to their stances on encryption. In other smartphone news, researchers at Queen's University have developed a smartphone that bends. They call it the Reflex, and it is the world's first smartphone to combine multi-touch technology with bend input. The Reflex can be used like a regular smartphone, but has a flexible screen. The flexibility is not just to look cool, though. The phone can actually be controlled by bending the screen. Roel Vertigal, the director of the Human Media Lab at Queen's, says that the real innovation in the technology is that we can now start thinking about software and interaction as a 3-dimensional thing. One of the most popular apps to use on a smartphone is facing flack from users. Instagram announced changes to its algorithm, which would present photos based on users' interests rather than chronological order. This would mean that if you didn't want to miss out on posts from users, you would have to turn on notifications for each person you follow. Instagram users are not pleased with the announcement, taking to petitions and hashtags to get their voices heard. Over 320,000 people have signed a petition to keep Instagram chronological. Responding to the users, Instagram posted an image assuring users it is listening, that nothing was changing yet, and a promise to let users know when changes roll out. Speaking of rollouts, the virtual reality system Oculus Rift has started shipping out units this week. Tech reviewers are salivating at the new technology, which aims to bring true VR into consumers' homes. Reviews are generally positive, praising the technology as breathtaking. However, as Verge reviewer Addie Robertson points out, the headset you can buy today is not Oculus's most ambitious version of VR, but it is a vision that Oculus has delivered successfully. It's hard to speak of a vision of the future without a nod to Tesla Motors. Tesla is set to announce the launch of its much-awaited Model 3 this Thursday. The new emission-free electric vehicle will be priced aggressively at around $35,000, nearly half the cost of its popular Model S and Model X. While Tesla might be doing its part for the planet with electric vehicles, the news on the environment isn't all good. Arctic sea ice levels hit a record low this year. This news comes after 10 straight months of an all-time high temperature across the globe. The U.S. National Snow and Ice Data Center declared on Monday the maximum level of sea ice before it begins its spring melt was 20,000 square kilometers less than it has ever been. Scientists are suggesting that less Arctic ice may affect the path of the jet stream, which could theoretically cause severe rainfall and drought in middle and southern latitudes. Scientists have come up with a new way to repair damaged eyesight. Two separate studies from the University of California and Sun Yat-sen University in China found that they could use stem cells to regenerate a damaged lens. In a human trial, the technique was used to restore vision to 12 babies with impaired eyesight. Cell biologist James Funderburg, an eye expert who was not part of the studies, says that the procedure could be used by surgeons in the U.S. almost immediately. Let's take a look at how the markets are doing today. Wall Street is doing well with all the indexes ticking upwards as U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen said the Fed should proceed cautiously on raising interest rates. Closer to home, the TSX is suffering as a drop in oil prices caused the overall energy group to drop 2.2%. The European markets are on the rise as a stronger insurance sector shored up losses in commodities like metal and oil. The Asian markets had a weak close as data from the U.S. Consumer Spending Report hurt investor sentiment. That's it for Business and Tech. I'm Anas Sadiq. Now let's head over to Emily Bongelli with the weather.
Thanks, Anas. We sent Shay outside to talk to dog owners about the weather today. Let's see what they had to say.
How are you liking the day today?
It's cold, but you know, it's good.
Yeah. How's like waking up and taking the dogs and just the dog park? How's that been?
It's not bad. Sometimes it's miserable, sometimes it's raining, but I don't really have a choice, so.
What's your favorite like antics that they do sometimes when you bring them out here?
Just digging holes. It's enjoyable to watch, you know, they have a good time. They burn steam off. You know, they wrestle with each other. Works.
And what are you looking for when summer comes around?
Shade, but there isn't any. So, you know, I'm hoping it stays relatively mild. I don't like hot weather, so a day like this is perfect.
So how are you liking the day today already?
I mean, it's great because it's sunny out, but I'm wishing it was spring.
Yeah.
I mean, technical spring, I guess.
Well, I'm standing in front of Lakeshore Dog Park where it's a little sunny outside and a little windy too. As you can see right behind me, we do have a lot of happy dogs. We will be having a high of 6 and a low of -1, but currently it's standing at 0 degrees. Let's go inside into your studio with Emily Bongelli with our weekly forecast.
Thanks, Shay. For our 5-day forecast, we will be seeing the same winds we've seen today throughout the whole work week. Tomorrow, we have a high of 11 and a low of +9, and there is a 60% chance we'll be seeing showers Wednesday going into Thursday. Expect periods of rain Thursday with a high of +13 and a low of 3. Friday, we may be seeing some showers and potentially some flurries into the nighttime with a high of +8 and a low of 1. Going into our weekend, you may get a little sad as we could experience some more snow. Saturday, the temperatures drop with a high of 4 and a low of -6. The cold temperatures will still continue with a high of +1 and a low of -9 on Sunday. That's all for your 5-day forecast. I'm Emily Bongelli. Now back to Brian in the studio.
Thanks, Emily. I'm not looking forward to the weekend cool down, I say. A foreign research poll have released a new poll on provincial politics. The Forum Research poll released new numbers today suggesting that if provincial elections were held today, 40% of Ontarians are likely to vote for the Conservative Party. The Liberals are at 30%, while the NDP is at 24%. Premier Kathleen Nguyen's approval rating holds steady at 20%. PC leader Patrick Brown's approval rating is at 26%, while Andrew Horwath is at 35%. Brown and Horwath are likely to be seen as the best premier for the province, with the PC leader edging the NDP leader 23% to 18%. Incumbent Premier Nguyen only got 14%. Meanwhile, an Abacus data poll revealed that Peter MacKay and Kevin O'Leary are leading candidates for the Conservative Party. For more on both polls, check Irvin Solitaro's article on skedline.com. South of the border, the gunman in yesterday's U.S. Capitol shooting is in stable but critical condition at a hospital after he was shot and wounded by police. Police officials identified the suspect as 66-year-old Larry Dawson from Tennessee. He tried to enter the U.S. Capitol building's visitor center. Officials said that the suspect was known to Capitol Police as he disrupted the House session last year. He has been charged with assault with a deadly weapon and assault on a police officer. A female bystander suffered minor injuries when police fired at the suspect. She was taken to the hospital. Her condition wasn't disclosed. The best of Canadian filmmakers will be featured in this year's Canadian Film Fest, which will kick off tomorrow. Elena Pranjek has the details on this story and the rest of your entertainment headlines.
Thanks, Brian. Let's take a look at today's entertainment headlines. Calling all film buffs, the 10th annual Canadian Film Festival kicks off tomorrow. Opening the festival is local writer and director Jeremy Lalonde's How to Plan an Orgy in a Small Town. The comedy stays true to its title and is fresh off its U.S. premiere at Slamdance, where it received a warm welcome. Closing the festival is Director X's feature film Across the Line, starring Stephan James and Sarah Jeffrey. The annual showcase runs from March 30th to April 2nd at the Royal Cinema in Toronto. Woody Allen's film, Cafe Society, will kick off this year's Cannes Film Festival. This will mark the third time Allen has opened the festival with one of his movies. The film stars the Social Network actor Jesse Eisenberg and Twilight star Kristen Stewart. It tells the story of a young man who arrives in Hollywood during the 1930s, hoping to work in the film industry. He falls in love and finds himself swept up in the cafe society that defined the spirit of the age. Roles are also played by Blake Lively, Parker Posey, and Steve Carell. The 69th annual Cannes Film Festival runs May 11th to the 22nd. In more Film Fest news, Robert De Niro has axed a documentary on vaccination from the Tribeca Film Festival right after defending it. Vax was directed by disgraced former doctor Andrew Wakefield, who was the first to make claims of the supposed links between autism and the MMR vaccination. De Niro, who founded the New York-based film festival, originally defended the documentary, saying, "Grace and I have a child with autism, and we believe it is critical that all of the issues surrounding the causes of autism be openly discussed and examined." After the backlash on social media, De Niro released another statement saying him and the festival organizers have decided to remove the film from the festival schedule. Rumors are swirling after Grammy nominee Kehlani Parrish was hospitalized following an apparent suicide attempt. The 20-year-old shared a photo of herself with an IV in her arm and lying in a hospital bed on Monday night with the caption, "Today I wanted to leave this earth." This all happened amid rumors that Parrish cheated on her boyfriend and NBA star Kyrie Irving with her ex-boyfriend Party Next Door. The rapper posted a photo on Monday of him supposedly in bed with Parrish, which immediately sparked talk that Parrish had cheated. Irving has yet to address the rumors. If you're a fan of stars singing in cars, you might be into this next story. James Corden is bringing his popular segment, Carpool Karaoke, to prime time. The Late Late Show host is only 1 year into this hosting gig and has already made a name for himself. He also holds the YouTube record for the most watched late night clip for his Carpool Karaoke episode alongside Adele. Other artists featured in the hugely popular segment include Justin Bieber, Sia, and my personal favorite, One Direction. The primetime special will show highlights from past episodes and debut an all-new clip with J-Lo. The special airs tonight at 10 p.m. on CBS. We end on a sad note today. It was announced this afternoon that Oscar-winning actress Patty Duke has passed away. Our thoughts and prayers go out to her friends and family. That's all for your entertainment news for today. Let's head over to Sadie Perfetto with sports.
Thanks, Elena. Now for your sports news. It wasn't a great night for sports in Toronto. Ben Bishop and the Lightning blanked the Leafs 3-0 on Monday night in Tampa Bay. Victor Hedman, Mike Blunden, and Andre Palat notched goals for the Lightning. Bishop stopped all 34 shots for his first career shutout against the Leafs. With the win, the Lightning move into a tie with the Florida Panthers atop the Atlantic Division, while the Leafs sit steady in last place. Toronto will take on the Panthers tonight in sunny Florida. The Washington Capitals are officially the best team of the 2015-2016 NHL season. The Caps clinched the President's Trophy last night with a win over the Columbus Blue Jackets. Along with the trophy, the Capitals are guaranteed home ice advantage through all 4 rounds of the playoffs. The win gives Washington 113 points, and to date, no other team has even reached the 100-point mark. Only 8 President's Trophy winners have gone on to capture the Stanley Cup since the award was introduced in 1986. Jimmy Vesey may be a name you'll be hearing a lot more of in Toronto. Vesey was a 3rd-round draft pick of the Nashville Predators back in 2012 and chose to go to Harvard for 4 years to complete his degree. His college career came to an end on Friday night, which left the forward with 2 options: sign with Nashville or wait until August 15th when he can officially become a free agent. Nashville offered Vesey a spot on the top 2 lines, a chance to skate in the Stanley Cup playoffs only 3 weeks after finishing college, and a year burnt off his rookie contract, but it was not enough to tempt the 22-year-old. Vesey informed Nashville GM David Poile that he will not sign with the Predators and will exercise his right to free agency. His hometown of Boston and Toronto, the club his father is employed by as an amateur scout, and the team his younger brother was drafted to are rumored to be on Vesey's radar. Along with the NHL award nominations come controversy, and this year was no different. The NHL Masterton Trophy is given annually to the player who best exemplifies the qualities of perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication to hockey. This year, Buffalo Sabres forward Ryan O'Reilly was nominated as a finalist. Last summer, O'Reilly allegedly drunkenly drove his truck into a Tim Hortons and later fled the scene on foot. O'Reilly will appear in court this summer. Other nominations include Pittsburgh Penguins' Pascal Dupuis, who unsuccessfully tried to work back from a series of blood clots, and New York Rangers' Matt Zuccarello, who returned to the ice after taking a puck to the head and fracturing his skull, resulting in brain damage. The awards take place June 22nd in Las Vegas. Unsealed emails on the subject of concussions from NHL executives caused a lot of debate this morning. In 2013, over 24 former NHL players filed a class action lawsuit against the league, and since then, over 100 more players have come forward with their support. The suit argues that the NHL failed to warn its players about short and long-term effects of repeated concussions and head trauma. Although the case is still ongoing, a Minnesota judge presiding over the case ordered emails from the league to be unsealed, which led to their release earlier this week. The email exchange was between League Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly, Commissioner Gary Bettman, and former head of player safety Brendan Shanahan. Daly wrote, quote, "Fighting raises the incident of head injuries/concussions, which raises the incidence of depression onset, which raises the incidence of personal tragedies." These emails came in the wake of the deaths of Wade Belak, Derek Bugard, and Rick Ripon. The focus in the Air Canada Centre last night quickly shifted from the Raptors' hopes of setting a franchise record 50 wins to Kyle Lowry clutching his injured elbow. The Raptors were defeated by the red-hot Oklahoma City Thunder last night, 119-100. Russell Westbrook notched his 16th triple-double of the year, collecting 26 points, 12 assists, and 11 rebounds. DeMar DeRozan led the Raps with 19 points. And Kyle Lowry, who had his right elbow drained after the game, put up 14 points. Injuries could play a major role in the Raptors' final 9 games. The Raps will host the Atlanta Hawks on Wednesday at the Air Canada Centre. The Los Angeles Lakers lost their franchise worst game on Monday night. The Utah Jazz handed the Lakers a beatdown, blowing them out 123-75. Kobe Bryant finished with just 5 points in 28 minutes, and the Lakers were outscored by 44 points in that time. The 48-point margin is both the worst loss in Lakers history as well as the biggest win in Jazz history. The Toronto Blue Jays have parted ways with former All-Star Steve Delabar. The Jays announced on Tuesday that they have released both Delabar and veteran left-hander Randy Choate. Along with this move, the Jays have optioned Drew Hutchison to AAA Buffalo, leaving Aaron Sanchez as the final piece of the starting rotation. The Jays announced last week that Marcus Stroman will be their opening day pitcher Sunday in Tampa Bay, as well as start their home opener the following Friday versus Boston. The 2016 IIHF Women's World Cup of Hockey kicked off yesterday in Kamloops, BC, and the biggest game of the tournament may have already been played. The historic rivalry of Canada and the United States was put on display yesterday, and the U.S. topped Canada 3-1. Hilary Knight had 2 goals, and Brianna Decker scored the game winner for the United States. Laura Fortino scored for Canada 14 seconds into the third period. Canada looks to rebound tonight as they take on Russia for a 10:30 p.m. start. Those are your sports headlines today. I'm Sadie Perfetto. Back to Brian in the studio.
Thanks, Sadie. Turning our attention to other news around the world. A man was arrested after he hijacked and forced an Egypt airplane flying from Alexandria to Cairo to land in Cyprus on Tuesday. Conflicting theories have emerged about the motive of the hijacker. A Cypriot official said the man was unstable and the incident did not appear to be terrorism-related. The Cypriot foreign minister said the hijacker threatened to blow himself up and demanded to refuel the plane and head to Istanbul. But after a few hours of negotiations, the hijacker surrendered to the authorities. They said the man had a fake suicide belt on him. All 81 passengers and crew on board were unharmed, according to Egypt's civil aviation minister. Meanwhile, a man was arrested after he allegedly decapitated a 4-year-old girl in a random attack on the streets of Taipei, Taiwan. The man grabbed the girl off her bicycle and beheaded her with a knife in broad daylight before being wrestled down to the ground by passers-by. The killing was the latest in a string of random attacks in the country and the third case against children in the past 4 years. Local media is reporting that the police believes that the attacker has a history of mental illness and drug abuse. The largest ecosystem in the world is in danger. The Arc Centre for Excellence Coral Reef Studies said that 95% of Australia's Great Barrier Reef's northern section shows coral bleaching. The group documented 500 coral reefs over 6 days and found out that the most untouched part of the reef is experiencing the most severe bleaching. Coral bleaching is a process by which coral expels living algae, causing it to calcify. The World Heritage Site brings billions of dollars a year in tourism revenue in Australia. And those are the stories that are making news now. For more details, check our website, skedline.com. And that's SkedLIVE for Tuesday, March 29th. For all the hardworking crew of SkedLine, I'm your host, Brian Aguilar. See you next time.